Hi, this is John Doe, aka Frags with the DNB Academy, and welcome to another sound recreation video. For this one, we got this awesome collab between Bo, Irah, Kanine, and Trigga called Wicked Dark, and we're gonna be recreating the Respace that comes in right before the drop. So there's a really small section, but it's a really important sound because it has the right amount of impact to the drop itself. So yeah, let's check the original and I'll show you what I did with it. Alright, so now let's hear this with a Reese on top of it as well. So yeah, this is it guys. Let's flip the screen into Serum and get the job done. Alright, now that we got the meaty laydown, let's start designing our patch. And it's actually a pretty fundamental sound in drum and bass, but it requires a little bit of work, especially in the tuning of each oscillator here. So, as we might have noticed, this is a Respace. So, for starters, we need to choose our wavetables. And we're gonna go with the classic way. 2 solid waves, alright? Random phase on both, okay? And this is what we get by default. But now we're gonna slightly tune them here on the fine tuning, right? So we're gonna make this one 58. And on the second one, we're gonna go with negative 58. So now we'll be able to hear the detuning starting to happen. So that's kind of the detune that brings the sort of rate that we hear on the original, all right? So now that we got this, we need to set one really important thing, which is the voicing here. So we're gonna set this to mono, legato, always, and we're gonna bring the portamento up. So there's like that perfect glide happening. We need this activated, all right? Next thing, we're gonna turn on our filter. We can make it notch 24 here on the normal filters, notch 24. We're gonna assign oscillator B as well here. And we're gonna choose the cutoff somewhere around the 500, 400 hertz, because we're gonna add a little bit of movement here. See, this way we're already kind of cleaning up those really harsh mids, right? But now we're gonna just add an LFO. We're gonna set this one to trigger mode, right? We're gonna make it slower like a bar, send it to the cutoff, and make it like super, you know, short. We don't want this to be... But this already has that Reese character that the original has as well. So now that we got this done, we can actually increase a little bit of the drive and fat, because we know we're gonna need this at later stages of our patch, all right? And also bringing the level on both of our wavetables. We can already get things loud since the get-go. Okay, now let's flip the tab into the effects so we can make it sound even better. Okay, first things first, turn on the hyper dimension, bring down the hyper, we don't need it. We're just gonna add a little bit, like 5% here, and 7 or 8% on the size. Just a little bit more of width that we kinda need. Then we're gonna turn on our distortion. We can go with the tube. We just want, you know, to start like gluing these two wavetables together with distortion. Starting to sound way more Reese. Okay, and now, next step, some chorus. It's really important for these sort of patches to kind of work. So we're gonna bring this kind of detune to it. We're gonna fix this low end later. I mean, the stereo on the low end. Okay, that's nice. Now we can bring in our compression. This is gonna be important because we gotta control like the 3 fundamental bands on our sound now. So as you can see, the compression already tamed it down. So we're just gonna be using the multiband here. We're gonna boost up our lows. Then we're gonna bring our mids as well. This way we can control the tops just better, you see? They're not so harsh. We need them there later, but for now we can control them a bit. So, nice. Next step, a little bit of EQing. We already added quite a few things after we added this notch filter, all right? So we kind of need to sort of bring these frequencies down again on the mid-range. Otherwise, the sound is going to sound too muddy. Around 530-ish. See, it's way more control, even if we play like higher notes. Can even kind of make up for the kind of gain we lost. Increasing a bit on master, and we're good. All right. So now that we got this, we need to process this outside of Serum. So let's do our first step. All right. We got some Pro Q action going on here, and first we're gonna take care of the stereo of our low end. So I'm gonna add a little bit of mid side EQing here. Just rolling off some of the stereo on the low end. And then I'm gonna add a normal band, a stereo band here, just to once again accentuate this dip. Can control it so much better. We can now even bring some of these stops if we want with the EQ. Sound much more controlled. So after this sort of like fundamental-ish EQ, we're gonna add some more effects to it. So I just loaded in a new instance of Saturator. It's a really good distortion unit from Kilowatts that's gonna help to get this Reese vibes on the way. So for starters, it sounds like this, but we need to control things a little bit. So let's bring down the fuzz, somewhere around here, and also the drive. And as you notice, usually when applying Saturator, it's like if you don't increase the color here, or in this case make it brighter, it sounds too muffled, you know, so we need always to kind of like come here to the color. Make sure that we're also applying this distortion to the tops. You can hear the difference. Makes it so much more interesting. All right, there we go. Now, after this fundamental distortion again, let's bring the next effect. Okay, now to kind of like glue our mix together, all of the sounds that we kind of sort of like kept on adding and all the processing, we're gonna use some OTT. And we're gonna leave the setting as it is, because this is the Multiband Dynamics plugin from Ableton on the OTT settings. So we're just gonna pretty much tweak the tops and the mids and the lows. So now, obviously it sounds over compressed. So let's start bringing up our low end. Our tops, our mids, sorry. A little bit of the tops. Just a matter of adjusting this to your taste, sort of. All right, and to wrap it up, we're gonna add a new instance of Pro Q. As you see, like with all the changes, the mids came up like too harsh again. So it's just a fight, always trying to control these. There we go. Can actually clean up this part of the sub. Around like the 20K, need it. And we can bring down the tops in case we feel it. Like it's just a little bit too much. Make it dynamic, control it, increase the Q. So yeah, there we go. Let's just do a couple of adjustments to make it sound a little bit closer to the original in terms of tone. There you go. I think it sounds pretty legit. So, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!